Okay, we had seen the definition of biodiversity and how the word bios means life and diversity. Diversitas in Latin means variety. So basically, biodiversity is variety of life. We saw the meaning of definition and also the biodiversity in species, ecosystem, and genetic diversity. Okay, so this also why is biodiversity important? Now, talking about the genetic diversity, we know that a particular type of species in itself differs from one another. Like, for example, fish. You'll see fish comes in sizes, shapes, and colors. They are of different, they are all fish, but they are looking different from each other. The reason for that is genetic diversity. Okay? In humans also, you will see different colors, different shapes. As a shape, fish looks same, but they may have slight differences. As human, all humans have two legs, two hands, ears, eyes, nose, and all that. These are common factors, but their color may be different. Their sizes may be some are short, some are tall, some are stocky. So this is all because of the diversity in the genetic composition of a body. And genetic diversity, the level of biodiversity refers to total number of genetic characteristics in the genetic makeup of a species. So genetic characteristics differ from one another. You must have seen that there are some species which mutate over a period of time, adapting to the circumstances, conditions, environmental as well as physical conditions, where they need to uh, mutate themselves. For example, it is a well-known fact that why do giraffes have long neck? Okay. It is said to be that giraffes already came with a long neck, but since in the summertime, the African region where the trees used to shed their leaves and only on the top shrubs were available. So they have mutated, they have changed their composition and the neck became longer. Humans evolved from the apes, again, a well known fact. So we have changed our genetic composition, and now we are come to humans. It is distinguished from genetic variability that which describes the tendency of genetic characteristics to vary from one another. Genetic diversity serves as a way for population to adapt to the changing environment. So as the environment changes, see earlier 32 piece of teeth in your mouth used to be a set. Okay. Today also it is still there. But when you go to look back, the apes had more number of teeth because those were required. They were using it. Today, when you have a problem in a wisdom tooth and you go to the dentist, they say we must extract it because they say it is of no use. Now, everything there in your body has got some use. Even the appendicitis has some use. But over a period of time, since we have changed our lifestyle, we are trying to adapt to circumstances which is different from what it was earlier. Certain things are not used and are not coming into use because of there are no requirements to be used. So those becomes redundant. Genetic diversity, with more variation, it is more likely that some individuals in a population will possess variations of genes that are suited for the environment. So the external environment, the climate, the terrain also matters. Okay, so you will see that animals from the cold country have got more fur than the animals in the tropical areas. They may all be same. Okay, a goat or a sheep in a tropical area will not have so much of fur, skin, and few layers of hair. But if you go for goats in the frigid zones, whether there it is cold, you will find that they have thick fur, a coat of fur on their skin. So they have changed themselves. The genes have changed. Those individuals are more likely to survive and reproduce offspring bearing them. So the survival of the fittest. Now, who is the fittest here? Who is flexible? Who can adapt himself to the surroundings, to the circumstances? Okay? So they can survive. They survive, that means they will reproduce. So their population will grow. The population will continue for more generations because of the success of these selected groups of individuals who were ready to adapt themselves by changing their genetic composition. A classic example. What is this? Human beings. As I told you, the composition is same, structure is same. Some are short, some are tall, some are white, some are brown, some are black. So many varieties are there. This all the responsible character for these varieties is the genes, different types of genes, and they have adapted accordingly. You must have seen people living in cold, hilly areas are tall. Okay, not because they have done something. It is their forefathers who have been using that area, walking all the time, climbing up. So they have become stronger and the genes have become changed. So the offsprings also come with those genes. Okay, we'll find somebody who's from born, who's actually native of the hilly area, but has been born in an urban area, in a city. Also, their structure is tall and strong because the parents had those genes. Okay. Also, let me tell you, this is not in your curriculum. This is what I studied when I was studying about the eyes. Okay. I was studying about how even the diseases are transferred from one person to another because of the genes. Okay. 80% of your ailment is because of the genes. Okay. Like some some people are having diabetes, chronic diabetes. Okay. And this diabetes comes to the offspring. Why? The offspring has not abused himself yet. His body is not abused. His organs should be perfectly working fine. Then why is he getting diabetes? Because there are genes from which that offspring was made, and they had the traces of what do you call diabetes. So even the and one root shock is that the bad genes, bad means we are the ones who classify them, they are genes in the normal world. We classify them as bad and good. The bad genes are more dominant than the good genes. Okay. Say, for example, if a father has diabetes and the mother is normal, she doesn't have diabetes, then there should be 50-50% chances that the offspring will get or not. But it is not the ratio. The bad genes are more dominant. So there is more than 50% chances that the offspring will get. So you have to be in that small window of a small window percentage in which you can escape. Otherwise, it is bound to happen. So now, if you go to genetic studies and mutations, they have been able to clone. Cloning is to change the genes, the DNAs, okay, according to require and manufacture a replica. So human beings have studied this and they can do this up to some extent. By the way, this cloning is banned now. It is not legally approved. The second one is the species diversity. Species diversity is the effective number of different species that are represented in a region or an ecosystem. So if you see the rainforest, tropical rainforest, there are far greater species, more number of species, and diversity is more compared to a man-made plantation of trees. Example, uh, uh, teak or rubber plantation. Okay, so if yes, we as humans do plantations to exploit the resources of the nature. So there are teak wood plantations, there are rubber plantations so that we can get these raw material to manufacture tires and furnitures and all that. So this is a man-made plantation. I don't know how many of you are aware about shrimp farming. Shrimp farming is done by humans. Okay, they cultivate them, they grow them, they even sell them for their own livelihood. Now, if you see fish farming, or you can say poultry farming, okay, poultry farming is also the same. We grow chicken, make them big, and then sell it for occupation, for food availability. Now, if you have noticed, I don't know how many of you are aware, the non-vegetarians obviously might be. The chicken which is brought up in the poultry, uh, today the rapid rate at which they are grown with all the chemicals and vitamin boosters and all given to them is 22 days. In 22 days, you will have a full grown chicken ready to sell in the market. But if you have a local desi chicken, which takes months to grow, they do not have a lot of meat on them, but they are tasty because they have taken their own time, natural way to grow. Okay, and demand is more, so people make. I have been listening that even eggs are manufactured. Okay, so what we are talking about is a natural ecosystem will have more diversity in species than the man-made ecosystem. In the long term, the economic sustainable returns from the non-wood forest product is greater than the returns from the felling of forest for its timber. So we have to conserve the forest. So what we come to alternate materials. सबको टेबल चाहिए, okay, dining table चाहिए, especially in urban area. You can't sit down and have food. I remember as a child, we used to sit down and have food. Everybody together on the floor with a mat, okay, and the food was, the utensils were brought there, everybody was given a plate, and everybody takes their share and eat together. Even our cat in the house used to sit and eat with us at the same time. With the invent of the dining table, which is a Western invention, we also adapted it. It has become convenient. You don't have to sit down, you don't have to squat, okay. And if you are sitting on a chair and eating, it is more likely that you may overeat. But if you're sitting down and eating, very unlikely, chances are less. Because when you are eating, I don't know whether if you are looking at the video, see, you have to bend down to have the morsel of food because the plate is at the ground level. Okay. Some people hold the plate in the hand because they don't want to bend down. So when you are bending down, your belly is getting pressed, and you will realize that it is enough now and I should stop, and overeating can be avoided. But on the table and chair, it is at your level, this level. You are having food like this, you don't have to bend down. So that belly compression is missing here and chances of overeating is more there. So those traditional ways have now gone because of reasons. Table was wood, chairs which were wood, but today you will find plastic tables, plastic chairs, even glass top tables, and metal chairs with a cushion. So what has happened? Because the wood has become scarce, it has become expensive. Alternate material is used and make it available to even the middle class or lower middle class. Okay. Now, suppose you start banning furnitures from these type of wood, then when you come back to the normal level, and then you can exploit the resources again. So sustainability is that. Okay. Sustainability is to conserve. Areas that are rich in special diversity are called as hotspots of biodiversity. Here again, look, all of these are flowers. All the 9 are flowers. They're different in color, different in shape, different in size. But they are all called flowers. So why is that? It is the species which is different from one another. All of them being flower are different species. Then the third type of diversity is the ecosystem diversity. Ecosystem diversity refers to the diversity of a place